Welcome to the O Brother Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith.
Hey, Dan. Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. I always got to look over your shoulder and go, okay, what posters is he rocking tonight? I see a very cool new Batman.
Yeah.
That's cool. Is that like a comic version of Batman?
I think it's loosely based on one of the
The
comics.
Dark
Yeah.
Knight series, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got
And then Rocky.
some classic 80s, yeah, which is kind of fitting because we're actually talking about Tron Legacy tonight. But, this is, of course, a sequel to the 1982 film Tron, which, again, this was another film hadn't seen until just now. So, I've seen the original now and, of course, Tron Legacy, which came out in 2010. And it's weird, I Tron is something that never struck me. I never got on the Tron bandwagon. Even in the arcade, Mike, back in the day, never gravitated towards that console,
Do
that
you
arcade
remember the
cabinet.
game? I don't even remember the game.
Oh, you don't remember? I do
No.
remember it. Yeah, I do remember it.
And I'm such a video, like the two things that have been a constant in my ever changing life,
Right.
movies and video games.
Now, what would Kev Grit and Rexer say about the Tron video game right now?
Right now, they would probably be chuckling because Arcade 1-Up, who makes these junk three-quarter arcades,
Yeah.
made a Tron,
Mhm.
and it had, a blue neon joystick right in the center, and it broke, like, you
Oh,
used it once and it broke. It was a piece of garbage.
yeah,
I
not
watched these both on Blu-ray.
nice. So, okay, so those are those special editions you're holding up there, the
Yeah,
physical media?
they
Okay.
are, and they're definitely in need of a 4K
Mhm.
restoration, especially the first one.
Now, did you see the first do you have any memories of the first one back in '82 when that came out?
I don't. The video game crash happened in '83.
Yeah, well, it's
So
interesting you would say 1983, Mike, because, again, Tron came out July 9th, '82,
yeah,
and this came out in 1983,
that's right.
which was the Coleco Adam system, and this is one of the things I think about watching Tron, because at that time, again, this is very much pre-internet. There's
Mhm.
no home PCs at this point. Everything's mainframe computers that are really driving the operations of all, different businesses at that time.
Yeah.
But this was the first memory I have of
I
having
lugged
something.
that to
Yeah.
San Diego,
Yeah, okay.
and I learned how to type on that computer.
I mean, look at this thing. You've got it. Remember the cartridges? So you got the cassettes.
The cassette drive, which was always, hit and miss.
I don't remember the top loader cartridge though. I don't
Yeah, I
recall
do.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was also, this is the full Atom computer. There was also an extension. If you had the ColecoVision, which was black,
Yeah.
you could plug in a version of the Atom computer.
Mhm.
Like they had these add-ons. Like the first one was an Atari 2600. You could play 2600 games on the ColecoVision.
I mean, this thing to me was so revolutionary at the time. I really thought I had access to a whole nother universe with the
Well,
Atom.
Coleco was the first time that games, and I specifically think of Donkey Kong, it looked like
Yeah.
the arcade version.
Right.
The 2600, I mean, think of Pac-Man. Blink, 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 blink. I mean, I love it as a retro thing,
Yeah.
but it was so unlike the arcade game.
References to Pac-Man in the original Tron movie too. You remember mashing your knuckles up on these joysticks for the Atom
They
system?
were horrible.
It was
I
so
mean,
horrible, yeah.
the buttons, you had to use your thumb and your forefinger, and that joystick
Yeah,
cord would always
because
stretch out.
well, right, I mean, the cord was so tightly coiled,
Yeah.
and you had those buttons on the side that you can see. So yeah, trying to manipulate this thing was
And it
really
had a
confusing.
keypad, which is kind of like, the Intellivision. We're going off on a video game rant.
Television, yeah. Well, I feel like we have to because it relates to a lot of this computer software, software engineers, like there's a lot relative to that
Yeah.
conversation. So I wanted to go down memory lane with it because we've had every iteration of every system you can think of since the Atari 2600 and prior.
Well, we go back. I
Yeah.
mean, dad was a big pinball guy. In
Hmm.
1975, he bought a pinball machine. It is still in the basement,
Yeah.
and it still works great. But, he's the one that got us hooked on video games because he bought it was called the Odyssey. Came
Yeah.
out around the same time as a Pong.
Right. And the Odyssey had this big rifle that came
That's
with it.
right.
You remember big
And
rifle?
you used to cock it like
Yeah. That
and
was
it
good
was
around the
just,
kids.
a light thing, and if do you remember the static?
Yes.
Like, when you wanted to play hockey, it didn't change to the hockey game. You put up a static ice rink, and it was
Yeah.
Pong.
On the TV, right.
Yeah. You were just playing Pong.
Which is interesting because Steven Lisberger, who did the original Tron,
Correct.
was inspired by that,
Yeah,
very
and
much
he
so.
he was a producer on Legacy. He's also in the film. I don't know if you
Yeah.
caught it.
I
It's a
didn't catch it,
cameo
but
at the
I
end,
know he's in it, yeah.
but he stepped we're reviewing Tron Legacy, the
Mhm.
second one, because we're getting ready for Tron Ares, which we did a first look on. I don't know if it's come out yet, but, this one was in the works for so long, and they
Mhm.
couldn't get it made, and then finally, this guy, Joe Kosinski,
Yes.
who everyone knows now because he did Tom Cruise Maverick
And F1.
and F1. This was his first directorial feature film,
Mhm.
and it took 3 years from start to finish, but what got it made or got it greenlit was he made a short of what they were gonna, try to do, and they got Jeff Bridges involved, which I think was the key. They show it at 2008 Comic Con, and I was there, but I didn't see it because I
Mm.
couldn't get into the hall, and that trailer got the movie greenlit. So then they
Mm.
come back in 2009, they're
Right.
working on the film, and again, I'm at Comic-Con in San Diego. I don't get in. I could never get into the big hall. I think it's hall H, 11H, something like that.
Yeah, Hall H, yeah.
But they had the crowd actually cheer, and they used their cheer in the film. And then they came back in 2010 premiering the film. The first time a movie, and I think the only time a movie appeared in the big hall 3 years straight because of how long it took to create.
Okay. I saw clips of that 2010 appearance, and now it makes sense what you're saying because they were saying, like, for the 3rd time in fact, it
Yeah.
was Patton Oswalt that was introducing the
Oh,
panel,
wow.
and I believe I'm correct in that, and he's the one that says, "For the 3rd time in a row," or something like that, so I didn't realize all of that history with it.
Yeah. And I used to walk to Comic-Con. That's how close I lived to the downtown. And in the early days, it wasn't like it is now. Now it is gigantic. In fact, they've
Mhm.
quadrupled the size of the,
Yeah.
place.
Well,
I'm trying to think of what it's called.
and
Uh,
somebody that I think was, you know, copied quite a bit here with Tron Legacy. George Lucas just made his first appearance at San Diego Comic
that's
Con
right.
this
That's
year.
right.
So here's a we go from this, which is a shot of the original Tron, and you see Jeff Bridges. Is that Bruce Boxleitner actually, or is that Jeff? I can't tell from
That's
the
Jeff,
profile.
yeah.
It's Jeff with Cindy Morgan, who has since passed away, sadly, but
Mhm.
she played Yori or Laura in the original
And
Tron.
she
It's really
wasn't in the
good.
sequel, she wasn't in Legacy,
That's right, and
and then
that's
no
right,
explanation.
right. But this gives you this image that I'm showing gives you kind of a you know, it shows you sort of how crude it was at that
And
because of
what you
these
don't
black and
know.
white outfits they're wearing and what they had
Right,
to do to kind of pull off even the most rudimentary looking effects at that time.
and it was filmed with, like, black light. Remember
Mhm.
we used to have, like, it's like a purple light,
Yeah,
so when you
that
turn out all the lights,
yeah,
anything white glows in the dark.
that was all the rage back in the '70s. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kinda how they filmed the first one. Now the
Mhm.
second one, Legacy, we'll get into, way different story.
Way different. Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you say that because so again, I watched the first one. Um, would you consider that to be a successful film?
Well, I mean, it was not successful at the time, it bombed. It became a cult classic. I'm not sure why,
I'm not
and I'm
sure
a
why.
video game guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe it's more for even more hardcore tech, like engineers, programs, computer software people, computer scientists, and such.
Yeah,
I,
back
I, I
then,
guess.
the language was basic. You couldn't talk to a computer
Yeah.
like they
Well,
do in Legacy.
yeah, and I guess that's the thing you have to take into account is 1982, right? And what you're dealing with in terms of the technology available to you at the time. So
Right.
it's again, it's hard to,
And they were way ahead.
yeah,
Even talking about programs, nobody knew what it meant
right.
when you said a computer program back in '82.
Yeah. Yeah. And they couldn't have foreseen that it would be just, common knowledge now in
Right.
our
And that
everyday
I
lives.
remember when I got the Atari 800, which is
Mhm.
around this time, and I was really, I'm so low tech now. I'm an idiot, but, you know, back then, I was so far ahead of the curve. I had
Mhm.
everything first. And I remember saying to our mother, she was a bookkeeper at a local bank. And I said, "Mom, someday you're going to work on a computer." Just like, because she was like incensed that I would spend $750 on this Atari 800. But I
Mhm.
was convinced that this was the future.
Yeah,
And
but,
I was right.
unfortunately, you used it for your amusement and not to break
Correct.
into the computer programming field,
Correct, and I took a
which
class at the University of Lowell, but
yeah,
it was like 2,
another left
1, 1,
turn.
1, 2,
Yeah,
th
Mike takes another left turn.
yeah.
Well, it's so all right. Do you let's get into Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
How do you want to set this up? Now, first of all, talk about why are we even talking about Tron Legacy on this episode? Why did
Well,
we
we're
land on
talking about it in anticipation of the next chapter.
but also because it's the 15th anniversary
Correct,
of Tron Legacy. So that was another, yeah.
and
But
it's
now, by the time this episode drops, our Tron Ares first look will have been out already. So,
okay, good,
yeah,
because that looks really cool, and you see, like, I was
it
really
does.
when I first saw that, I saw the red neon, I'm like, I don't all I remember is blue. But when you watch Legacy, it's a lot of blue, yellow, and some red mixed in.
Yeah, a lot of whites, a lot of
Some
blues, a lot of,
whites, yeah.
yeah. So set it up. Tell us how do we get to Tron Legacy from the original film?
You know, it's interesting because it's a bit confusing because what happens in the first one is Jeff Bridges gets sucked into the machine and he's stuck playing the game basically for survival.
Mhm.
And it was more like highlight. Didn't you get the feeling like they were probably playing on a highlight
You
court?
know, I almost feel like that was my memory of it from the little that I had seen over the years of it until now seeing it with the discs, like
Yeah,
frisbees, basically, which they were using actual frisbees in the original film. But
that's right.
yeah,
But yeah, so anyways, at the end of the first movie, he gets out, he takes control of his company, which created this whole computer universe,
Encom.
Encom.
Yeah.
So the second one starts out with his kid, and there's not a lot of backstory there. There's Garrett
Headland.
Hegland,
Yeah, Headland.
and
Yeah.
I thought he was going to go on to be. He's worked. He's a consistent
Well,
worker.
he's on the Tulsa King series with Stallone.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's worked since.
Yeah.
He's never
And
been
and
out of work, but
and
I
I
thought he
thought
was
this
gonna shoot to stardom.
I thought he was pretty good in this. I mean, I thought the
He was.
casting was pretty good in terms of him being, Sam Flynn, Kevin Flynn's son. I thought that was a good
And Olivia
choice.
Wilde is also in it. Yeah, there she is,
She
and
plays
she
Cora.
she was red hot at the time. Her career was just taking off.
Yeah.
And but she's mostly known for TV. She was in the OC, she was in a TV show called The Black Donnellys, then she went on to be in House for a
Yes,
good
love that's where
good
I
run.
first got introduced to her was in House,
I've
and,
never seen that show.
it's a great show.
Never
It's a great
seen it.
show. Yeah, and she and Garrett apparently had known each other for 7, 8 years prior to making this film.
Yeah, they knew each other as teenagers,
Mhm.
and this was both their first big, but this was a big, huge budget.
Yeah, but don't get sidetracked from, like, getting us to Tron Legacy. You gotta
Yeah,
give us the
because,
the history there.
again, his son is now an adult, like 28 years old,
Mhm.
and all he remembers is the night his dad left and never returned. And there's all sorts of rumors that he abandoned. It doesn't make
Whatever.
sense, to be honest, the
Right.
story, because why would he abandon this multi-million dollar profitable company?
Mhm.
But yeah, he abandoned the company, and he's living somewhere overseas or
But
something.
we find out that he's making trips back and forth into this digital universe, and then he makes one trip that he doesn't come back from,
Correct. The
ultimately.
computer gets, and they're talking about this, and we just watched Bill Maher have a AI expert on his
Yep.
show talking about how AI is way smarter, way faster than we ever anticipated. So that's kind of where we're at. He's stuck in the system, and then his kid decides to go in, figure a way in,
Yeah.
and there's where some of the, mistakes, because Flynn's Arcade, which is the business he originally
Mhm.
had been closed down since his disappearance. But as he walks through it, you see games that were not out in 82, like Mortal Kombat and other games.
Right, right.
So his
Well
son goes in to try
Mhm.
to find him,
Right.
and hence Jeff Bridges is kind of, you know, this is
Yeah,
just what the computer wanted.
and I think a big part of this is that even in the first one, Kevin Flynn, Bridges' character,
Right,
has created this program in his likeness called Clue,
right.
the, codified likeness utility, or Clue, as it were,
See, I didn't
and
know what it
yeah,
stood
that's
for.
the acronym. And so and basically I think I was thinking of it as like a corrupted file, right? This digital version of him that he has put into this universe has now become corrupted, and it's a lot of the story with the original one is the whole idea of the master control program trying to prevent others from having access. And there's a lot of, I think, themes and things going on there, and I think about open source software, right?
Correct.
The idea, like we did an episode, one of our most, I think, popular episodes on the film that won the animated film last year, the year Flow,
Yeah.
and how that director basically created that whole film through open source software.
Right. And there's a program called STEM that's very hot right now that anybody can go on and use for free. Now, in Legacy, they created this program, but it was like the Mac, right?
Mhm.
Mac versus PC. The big difference, Mac was a closed system. PC was an open system anybody could use. Um, but in early in the movie, there's a cameo by Cillian Murphy.
I'm glad I made a note of that because he's in it for like 2 minutes,
He's in it
and
for 2 minutes,
it's
and
so weird.
he appears going to be the central villain. He's the
Right,
son of the villain from the first film. Now, what I
right.
found out in my research is Cillian was in this movie strictly for the sequel. They had already had a third planned out, and he was
Wow.
gonna star in the third one. So
Oh.
that's why you see him for only a minute. He's not even
Mm.
credited. He's not even
He
in the end
I
credits.
wonder, I mean, who knows? I wonder if he was approached more recently, because he could pull that off still today. I mean, obviously Jared Leto is in that,
Well, 28 years later, he's gonna be in the next. He
yeah.
wasn't in the one that just came out, but there's a sequel that's already shot, already in the can, that he's in.
That who's in?
Cillian Murphy.
Wait, you mean there's a follow-up to Tron Ares?
No,
You're talking about Tron Legacy. Okay, you
no,
got me a little
no,
confused.
no,
No.
I mixed movies. I went to 28 Days Later.
Oh, sorry.
I was
Right, right,
talking
right.
about 28 Days Later, how Cillian Murphy, it's kind of the same scenario.
Yeah, right, 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 right. But
I
I'm just
didn't
saying
That's my fault.
I could see him in Tron Ares today. He could have certainly been
Absolutely.
been cast in that. But okay, that's interesting because I thought it was odd that he was in it for like 10 minutes. Not even, I
Yeah.
don't think.
And I haven't watched these movies in a long time,
Mhm.
probably 2010,
Yeah.
but, or whenever the Blu-ray came out.
Well, the first
But
thing you're struck by is, again, you go from this in 1982 to, this kind of look. And it's the first
right,
thing you're struck by is the world building and obviously the technology, the advancements in CGI and everything that is at Kaczynski's disposal now. And really what I found fascinating is his background as an architect made so
bingo.
much sense
Yeah,
from a design standpoint because I have no issue. It's a beautiful looking film and it's very well directed. It really is.
yeah,
But you hit on for me what is the problem with both of these films so far and what I fear with the third one, although I am very interested in the this this concept of the of Tron Ares, which with AI
mhm.
is the story. The story, it suffers from a convoluted, story, in my
Well, I
opinion.
think they were trying to build a story around the tech
Mhm.
instead of the other way around. Instead of
Yeah.
starting with the story and seeing how you make the tech fit,
Right.
he went the other way.
Right.
And I
Right.
think that's what it suffers from because visually it is stunning. And I thought,
Right.
you know, there was simple lighting effects. No, the
Mhm.
actors are actually wearing these really heavy, uncomfortable, lithium powered suits. And the
Right.
lithium batteries at that time, 12-hour max. So think about shooting scenes. Like, as soon as the director, yells cut, they got to shut down.
Mhm.
And they couldn't sit down because of the way the suits were created. Bruce Boxleitner talks about the first one and how they basically just wore a thong
Yeah,
and
and
it was
right.
projected
Yeah,
on
when
them.
they were in between scenes and filming, they go to craft services, they'd have to put on robes because they were basically walking around in G-strings and
Right,
stuff.
that's in the first one.
Right, right. It's, I'm glad you mentioned Bruce Boxleitner. I mean, he's Tron.
He's Tron, and he was not in Tron Legacy. he was not in the original script. It was uproar from the fans who
Oh,
were
okay.
like demand,
Uh,
they were at Comic-Con.
yeah, I don't want you to misrepresent because he is in the
Oh,
film.
he's in the sequel. It's not a big part because
No,
he
but
doesn't
it's
really fit.
and he was more than pleased to be part of it, and it
He
was cool.
wanted to be.
It was cool to see him in there. Okay, so there's another character. I don't think I have an image of him here, but or maybe I do actually. Hold on. Is this character here, Mike, played by Michael Sheen, who we
Yeah.
have to talk about. Um,
Yeah, he's very
this was
flamboyant.
I just this he was I don't know, it was like David Bowie meets the Joker, meets the Penguin, meets the
Alan
and look,
Cummings, who comes to mind
it
for
does,
me.
yeah, Alan does, but and look, no shade, I mean, Michael is a huge fan of Tron, admittedly, he was, like, stoked to be part of this production as anyone would be, but, I just this is the one character I just could have done without in the film.
Yeah. Yeah, he's way over the top, plays it, he's playing both sides
Well, and it's
and
unnecessary. What purpose did this really serve in the end? Not
well,
much, not
the only
much.
purpose was to suck in, Flynn and his son
Mhm.
and kind of hand them over or hand the disc over to the master program.
Right.
And we haven't even talked about it yet, but Jeff Bridges plays a young version of himself.
So here is, The Big Lebowski. I'm sorry, Kevin Flynn, because I'm sorry, man, but it was like Flynn abides, he was
Yeah.
there was this whole Zen thing of his character all of a sudden that made no sense to me,
Now
and
that sequence you're showing was in the trailer they showed at Comic-Con that helped get it greenlit.
it's a very he's in a bit of a compromising position here that you see, but this is a shot of him in Tron Legacy, and Jeff Bridges has that air about him anyways. I mean, he is the dude, I think. Like he is the dude. You watch him in any interview, he's just got this kind of free flowing, kind of
Like, when are
easygoing.
they gonna make that film? We all want it.
The
We all wanna
sequel?
see the dude again,
We do. Well,
you know?
never say never. It might happen. But to your point, a big part of this one and a big storyline when it comes to the advancements in technology is this, which is
Right.
the young version of and of Jeff Bridges in Legacy. And you were talking about this in prior to us getting on the mic.
In the first look, I think, I talked
Yes, I
about.
think so, right,
Yeah.
and how, what they did with it was pretty phenomenal. Now, I think this is, if not it's certainly one of the first, attempts at this, right?
Well, I'll tell you what who they used. They used the crowd that did Benjamin Button with Brad Pitt, and they made
Mhm.
him older.
Yeah,
Same company,
I forget the name
and
offhand, but
if I don't know, did Disney Plus have any extras?
on the original film, not on Legacy, no.
Okay, there's a lot of good stuff, and in it, they show how he's de-aged. He's wearing kind of a
Yeah, he's got this
visor.
apparatus, and he's got dots all over his face, and
And
so
think
they
about the first one, right?
Mhm.
Because that's how they got him into the video game, was kinda de-resolutionizing him and then, bringing his part. Well, they're now able to do it for real, and this is the result. Now, I had said to you how this is the first time I was like, "Wow."
You sure did say that.
But I look at that and I'm like, you know, it's not that great.
Well, it's funny you should say that because, let's play a clip from the dude himself here.
Up. It sounds like it's a pretty small role. It's basically a cameo in the new Tron movie, Tron Ares.
Yes.
From what I gathered, Jared is pretty in character, generally speaking. Was that interesting
Oh
to see
yeah,
Jared Leto like fully
absolutely.
committed?
Yeah, he's wonderful to work with. We had a great time, a lot of fun working together.
there's probably no one more scanned in the metaverse than Jeff Bridges.
Maybe
Someone
so.
has that.
Yeah.
Does that scare you a little bit that like 150 years
I
from
think
now they
it's
can recreate you?
It's the new thing. When I have a gig, it will be leasing my image. I got scanned and am in the computer for when we did Tron 2.
Yeah.
What was it called?
The Legacy, yeah.
And I wasn't particularly fond of that recreation of myself. I thought I looked more like Bill Maher than myself.
I never
So that
saw
was
that.
that was a recent interview with Josh Horowitz on the Sad Happy Confused show.
And
that
what
he's
they
got.
did is they used a body double.
Right.
Okay. So they had somebody that was physically the same and kind of a similar likeness, but they
Right.
used the movies Against All Odds
Mhm.
and
Starman, I think.
Oh
no, Starman. Yeah, Starman, I think was one of the ones they used.
I wrote it down and I just can't
It
find
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't
But
matter.
yeah, Against All Odds and the original. So those were the two kind of faces they were trying to
Well,
recreate.
and here's the thing, Mike. It's really cool, except when he says anything.
When he
If you-
talks, you can
Anytime he
kinda tell.
said anything,
Yeah.
it was really off-putting. It was
Like
really
they
off.
needed to keep it at a distance.
They did. Because again, when he wasn't speaking, it was pretty phenomenal. And it wasn't bad throughout, but and I don't want to
But
knock
not
the
like
technology.
today.
Well, and you think about spoiler alert, but Luke Skywalker's return in The Mandalorian was
Right.
one of the most phenomenal things I've ever seen, and
Right.
even that. But that's think about it. That's almost that's a more than a decade beyond this here.
Well, and another thing that's interesting is 2009. This comes out in 2010.
Mhm.
2009 saw Avatar
Mm,
scream,
good point.
and so they're using next generation cameras
Yeah.
from, Avatar was actually behind, yet
Hmm.
they didn't create like Marvel, Jeff Bridges is one of the only actors I think I know that isn't in the MCU. He's
Yeah.
never
Well,
been in a Marvel film.
it doesn't bother me too much, only because I mean it was weird. Every time I would see him and we start talking, it was a bit odd. But I think you can also the benefit here is that what the film is, it's a computer generated image of Kevin Flynn, anyways.
Right.
So I think that helps justify any problem you might have with
But when
the
we did the
look.
first look, I hadn't watched the film yet. In fact, we hadn't even decided to do it.
Mhm.
But my memory was how unbelievable Jeff Bridges looked when they made him. I thought he was working out and they made him up. I didn't know they used technology. But then when I watched it, I was like, yeah, that's not like Marvel.
Yeah, you're like,
Marvel today's got it down.
not what I remember. There was a few spots in the film, Mike, that now this is Walt Disney Studios production, right? So
Yes.
There was a few Star Wars references, in my opinion, in this film. Maybe
Absolutely.
they might not have been so subtle, but there was a total nod to and a bit of a goof on lightsabers
Correct.
for some reason.
Yep.
There was also, at times the way like Sam's character was cloaked, even Jeff Bridges, right, as Kevin Flynn, when they were cloaked, they looked like a Jedi.
Right.
And then
And talk about the how they did the lightsaber, because it was definitely a nod.
well, Sam is what it is. It's the stick or whatever. I
It's
don't
the
get the right
handlebars.
terminology. It's the handlebars for the light cycle,
Right.
which I happen to have ridden myself.
Yes. Is that
This
you?
is this is an image of me on the light cycle on the
And
Tron
that's
ride.
not computer
Yeah,
generated.
this is me de-aged, folks. But it's the stick, it's the handlebars, and so he doesn't know what to do with it, and he's
Right.
kinda
He
fussing
holds
with
it like this.
right, and he goes, "What am I supposed to do with this?" And then the guy looks at him, he goes, well, not that.
Certainly not that.
Certainly not that. Like wink, wink. But then Jeff Bridges, I think, there's a scene where they're in this like vehicle version of the light cycle. I forget what they called it. And he says, I don't think this is a good idea. I got a bad feeling about this. Does that sound familiar? Like it was
Yeah.
a total ripoff from Star Wars, as
Right.
was this whole sequence, Mike, of them in this spaceship that Cora is flying.
Mhm.
Kevin is riding shotgun and Sam is in the back like Luke, in the Millennium Falcon when they're, in that whole sequence.
That's
It
right.
it
That's
was the
right.
whole sequence
It was the same
from Star
sequence.
Wars: A New Hope. But
Yeah.
anyways, so I don't know if that was homage or they were poking fun at it, but
No, I mean, I'm
I mean, this is
sure.
before they own the IP, Mike. So think about it that way.
See, I didn't know that. I was
Yeah.
gonna say they probably worked on the film,
No.
you
Well,
know?
I'm just saying it's before Disney acquired Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, but,
Which
I know they worked with them before they acquired them.
Now you've made the point about this very thing right here, which is that, okay, we get the attraction out of Disney. We got to pump out a couple more of these films because it's been laying dormant since 2010.
Right,
So it's interesting. We're celebrating the 15th year anniversary of the release of Tron Legacy, and it's been 15 years since that film came out.
that's right, and I said in the first look, this got made because of the ride, and
Yeah.
I totally believe that.
Which is cool. It's not the
Yeah.
greatest if you wanna classify it as a roller coaster, not the best roller coaster I've been on. I would recommend people highly, go to Epic Universe and ride the Stardust Racers. That's an amazing roller coaster, but anyways, I digress.
Yeah, on my list.
So, yeah, you mentioned earlier the budget, 170,000,000. It's made over 400 worldwide, so obviously this was
And they didn't have marketing budgets that were 3
Mhm.
times the cost of the money back then.
Right, right,
So,
right.
yeah, it's a profitable film, but it goes into development hell again.
Well, and here's the interesting thing when you look at the ratings for both films, Mike. Like the original Tron, IMDb Metascore 58, IMDb Metascore for Tron Legacy 49.
Yeah,
Okay,
I saw
and
it, I was like, "Ouch."
and Rotten Tomatoes now it's Rotten Tomatoes. The critics were more favorable of the original Tron than they were Legacy. But the audience is in the 60 percentile for both films. So it's a weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that really.
I think that's where I'm at,
Mhm.
but
Me
I
too.
definitely like a lot of stuff they did and a lot of risks they took. Even,
Yeah.
Leisberger, who directed the first one,
Mhm.
he basically was like, "You know what? The tech has passed me by." Kinda like me talking about owning an Atari 800 or seeing the future, and then when the future gets here, I can't do jack with it because 'cause I'm an idiot.
Right, right, right. Yeah, no, I was impressed with it again visually and having seen the first one, the advancements are, it's something to marvel
And
at.
this one, no more lithium 12-hour suits. I mean,
Mhm.
it'll be, do they overuse the artificial intelligence? Do they overuse the CGI? Back the first one, I think, had the most special effects of any
Mhm.
film of its time.
Well, I don't know, Avatar, you said came out the year before.
Well, I'm talking about the original
Oh, the
in
original, yeah.
'82. I
Well,
mean, Star Wars was out there, but they were using models, little
yeah,
models.
it's amazing how the the Tron Ares, I mean, it's the timing is perfect. Again, with this AI storyline they're going with. I hope they can get it right because the trailer, that was a first look we did where I was really intrigued by the trailer. It looks great. So I now would love to see, okay, what is the evolution done for this
But,
film? But if the storytelling hasn't evolved, then we're in trouble.
we're in trouble, and I'll go back and say it again, and I think it's dead on. The story looks like a total ripoff of another Disney film, Avengers: Age of Ultron, where
Right.
Jared Leto is basically Ultron.
You like to give that little accent on the Jared Leto.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, anything else to say about Tron Legacy on the 15th year anniversary? Before you add any comments, I did
Yeah.
want to say, Mike, too, because we talk about runtime a lot as soon as I saw this was over 2 hours, I kind of cringed. Again, the original, it's a sweet 90-minute film.
Yeah.
This one didn't have any business being over 2 hours. It's 2 hours and
No.
5 minutes. That's a bit long for me.
And again, I mean, to see Kaczynski basically hasn't done any other until we get to Top Gun 2.
And I don't think Jeff Bridges has done anything since Bad Times at the El Royale, other than being on the series The Old Man, which he's been starring in.
Right. Yeah. So, and it sounds like based on that clip you showed, it's just a cameo.
It's just a cameo. Yeah.
So that's disappointing.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to it. It should be good. And now I've got these two under my belt, so I'm ready for some Tron Ares.
And the one little, I always like to throw these nuggets out. The original person they were looking at for Sam Flynn, the kid, Casey Affleck.
Oh, really?
And he wound up passing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if
that would have been his first major film.
Yeah, he's gone on to do okay for himself.
Yeah, I think he's done all right.
I think he's done okay. Yeah. All right. So there you go, folks. Tron Legacy 15-year anniversary episode here on the Oh Brother podcast. If you are not currently following us, make sure that you do. You can find all things Oh Brother going out to the official Oh Brother website, Mike. OHB as in brother podcast.com. OHBpodcast.com. Mike's you can follow us on Instagram. Mike is saying silently out loud, follow us on Instagram at OHB Podcast. We're very active out there. And like and subscribe our videos on the YouTube channel. We're continuing to get a lot of engagement out there. Appreciate that. But yeah, if you would give us a thumbs up and a subscription, Mike would be, we would be indebted to you folks. But
Dan thinks I'm down the algorithm hellhole, but I'm not.
We all go down that. It's that mystery we're always trying to solve, much like the storyline of Tron and Tron Legacy. But Mike, let's jump on to our light cycles and get on out of here.
Get the hell out of here.
Another episode of the one and only Oh Brother podcast. I've been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my trusty sidekick, Mike Smith, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.